Hi, today's video is about growing your own sweet potatoes from any variety of sweet potatoes bought from the store. There is also a special recipe included for making onde-onde. This is a bag of sweet potatoes I bought from the store. Can I grow sweet potatoes from this grocery bag of sweet potatoes? What do you think? The answer is a very big yes. We can, of course, grow sweet potatoes from a bag of store-bought sweet potatoes. The easiest way to grow sweet potatoes is to cut the two ends of the store-bought sweet potato and keep them in some shallow water. I recommend the ends, as this is the part of the sweet potato that will produce the most number of shoots or slips. After 15 days, the sweet potato slips showed good growth, even though they were just growing in water. The roots also showed good development. I am not sure why, but the other end of the sweet potato showed much slower growth and root development. At this stage, it is the right time to plant them in some soil. A good potting mix with lots of compost will be great. They can be planted either in a big pot or on the ground at this stage. Here, I am planting my sweet potato slips in small nursery bags first, as my ground is not ready for planting yet. Each sweet potato slip is pinched off together with its roots and planted directly into the soil. All the slips have a great chance of survival and grows super fast in the soil. After planting all the sweet potato slips, watering is a necessary step. After a week in the nursery bag, I planted the sweet potatoes on the ground. All the sweet potato slips took off very well on the ground, although my ground was clay soil with minimal amendments. Now, I can tell you, dear viewers, that we can grow any variety of sweet potatoes from the store easily. After 2 weeks in the ground, the sweet potato slips looked even much better. This sweet potato is the orange variety, very sweet and with less fibers inside. Let's make some onde-onde with these store-bought orange sweet potatoes. Onde-onde is a traditional Malaysian favorite kueh, actually a delicious sweet potato dumpling. For this recipe, we need 500 grams of sweet potatoes. The first step is to cook the sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes can be cooked in boiling water or steamed, as I prefer to do. Steam for 15 to 20 minutes. When done, the sweet potatoes can be pricked right through. The outer skin of the sweet potatoes comes off easily once they are cooked. The sweet potatoes are peeled and then mashed. Then salt is added. For this recipe, we have to use a special flour, that is, glutinous rice flour. Mix the glutinous rice flour with the sweet potatoes to make a soft dough. In my case, I used 2 cups of glutinous rice flour to make a soft dough. No water is needed to make the dough. The water content in the sweet potatoes is more than sufficient to make the dough. The dough should be of this consistency, not sticky, at the same time holding its shape. Small balls of dough can be made easily. The first step is to make as many small balls of this dough. Once this is done, we can start to prepare the grated coconut. A cup of grated coconut with a teaspoon of salt mixed in is first steamed for 10 to 15 minutes. Cover so that water droplets from the steamer does not drip into the coconut. The coconut is steamed so that it stays fresh and has a longer shelf life. The next thing to do is to prepare the center filling for the onde-onde by chopping up the palm sugar. In my country, this sugar is known as gula melaka. Next, the onde-onde balls with the center filling is prepared. Each dough ball is filled with a small quantity of palm sugar and then sealed. The onde-onde balls can also be made by using the thumb and one hand only. A good practice is all that is needed to be an expert. Very quickly, we can make many of these balls easily. The next step is to cook the onde-onde in a deep pot of boiling water. The onde-onde has to be cooked in small batches in the boiling water. I am using here pandan flavored water to boil the onde-onde. To make pandan flavored water, just boil a few pandan leaves for 10 to 15 minutes in the water. The water will then be naturally flavored with pandan. Strain off the pandan leaves when ready to cook the onde-onde. The onde-onde is now cooked by dropping it into the boiling water one by one. This is to ensure they don't stick to one another. Once in the water, they will not stick to each other. Uncooked dough will always sink to the bottom. When cooked, they will float to the surface. Close the pot with a lid for 5 minutes. When ready, the dough balls will float to the surface one by one. Upon floating, cook the onde-onde for a further 3 minutes or so. This allows the gula melaka in the center to melt completely. We can drain out the cooked onde-onde little by little into a flat tray lined with banana leaf. At this stage, the onde-onde is very sticky and has a tendency to stick to one another. Lay the onde-onde on the banana leaves separately to cool. Another way is to drain the onde-onde straight into the grated coconut to ensure it does not stick to each other. Now I am putting my second batch of onde-onde into the same boiling water, repeating the same procedure as before. It only takes 10 to 12 minutes for the onde-onde to float to the surface. As for the final step, the onde-onde is coated with grated coconut. This final step not only makes the onde-onde taste and look better, but also prevents it from sticking to each other. Use a wet spoon to pick the onde-onde. This will prevent it from sticking to the spoon. It will now be easy to serve the onde-onde without the problem of sticking to each other. Sweet potato onde-onde is now ready to be served. So soft and so delicious. So tasty, I can consume several of these at one go. The specialty of this kueh is that With a single bite, we get a burst of sweet liquid lava in the mouth. Yes, I am really enjoying this quail. It's one of my favorite.